Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing the fragrances in my collection that have one of my favorite notes, and that is Ambrette. So I have not really seen videos really on this note, and I cannot wait to share the fragrances in my collection that have the note of Ambrette. So if you would like to see the fragrances in my perfume collection with the note of Ambrette, just keep on watching. I am so excited to do this video. This was actually requested by one of you guys. Thank you so much for requesting this video, which I kind of already had it in my mind to do it, but that just kind of bumped it up to the top of the list for me because Ambrette is a note that I noticed most of the times when I see Ambrette in a fragrance, it turns into one of my favorite fragrances or I really enjoy it. And Ambrette doesn't necessarily smell like something. And you're going to see that with the list of fragrances that I have here. They are not dupes for each other. They don't smell the same. They go in different categories. So you can have Ambrette in different fragrances. You can have it in a gourmand fragrance. You can have it in a floral, in a fresh fragrance, and it's going to do something for each one of those categories. So it's more, I would say, more of a feeling that it gives. It doesn't necessarily smell like something. It does have a bit of like a sweet scent to it. I could be totally wrong describing what Ambrette smells like because it could probably be something totally different, but I'm just kind of explaining it through my nose, like the way that I receive that note, what I think about, what I feel. Ambrette gives more of like a airy touch to a fragrance. So when you smell a gourmand fragrance, for example, those usually smell very sweet and they can be very thick because they can be syrupy sweet, they can be just super dense. And I feel like what Ambrette does is, for me, when I smell it in fragrances, it kind of makes the fragrance airy. The texture of the fragrance changes with Ambrette. It gets a little airy, lighter, musky, without it having that strong musk that a regular musk can have, or the sharpness of a white musk in some fragrances. So Ambrette is a really nice note to kind of look out for and see if you enjoy it yourself as well. To me, it just smooths out a fragrance, makes everything blend together better and smoother. It's a note that I really enjoy. So let's get into the fragrances that I have with that note. So the first one I'm going to start off with Ambrette is my Ariana Grande Cloud Pink fragrance. This fragrance is a very sweet, fruity, almost fluffy perfume. It's very sweet and fruity and it has some of my all-time favorite notes. There is berries in here. There's pineapple, which you guys know I love pineapple in fragrances. There is also coconut water, vanilla orchid, which is another, this fragrance has like my all-time favorite notes all wrapped up in one. There's also praline, musk, amberwood, and moss. So the base does have a little bit of a more sweet base. And then I just feel like the Ambrette in here, again, just makes it a very sweet, fluffy, airy fragrance. Like I feel like this is almost a dessert that you can eat. It's not super thick and cloying. It does have a little bit of like a musky airiness to it, and I feel like the Ambrette definitely helps. So the first one is Cloud Pink. So this next fragrance, every single time September rolls around, this fragrance is on my tray. And this is also, I would say, a woody gourmand as well. This is another MAC fragrance that I really love. I suggest looking into MAC fragrances because they're really good. Here is my Creme D'Nude. I think the packaging is really cute. It's very different, and this fragrance has quite a bit of a dent on it. And this fragrance is musky, so it's definitely a musky fragrance. I can't wait. I haven't worn this one in so many months because to me it's more of like a fall winter type of vibe. It definitely gives me more cozy vibes. And the caramel in here, oh, it's so good. This to me is a very vanilla fragrance. So I definitely smell vanilla in here, but you have woody notes blended into that vanilla, musk, and then that caramel. It just sweetens it up. It almost turns it into almost a gourmand fragrance. I wouldn't necessarily say it's gourmand because I do get more of the suede that is in here. This fragrance does have suede, and since I have had it for, I would say, like 3 years now, it definitely does smell a little thicker, but but it still maintains that airy, almost fluffy vibe that I get from Ambrette fragrances. So that is Matte Creme D'Nude, another amazing fragrance. This next fragrance is another one that I have raved about for a couple years as well. And this one is by Jo Malone, and this is Scarlet Poppy. This is so good. This has orris, it has fig, there is tonka bean, heliotrope, which definitely makes it powdery, barley, very unique but yet sexy, beautiful kind of vanilla scent, but it also gives like an almondy touch, a powdery touch. In all of these fragrances, you can see that I can't say this smells like Ambrette because there isn't a distinct smell. These are also different from each other. It's more of a feeling, a airy vibe, and this one also has a little bit of a airy kind of creaminess, powderiness to it, a muskiness. So Scarlet Poppy's beautiful. This is really nice. I really think this is nice for like date night. It just feels very sexy and really nice. So this one also has a nice dent. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but so far the dents are doing pretty good. It just shows how much I love them. So this next one is completely finished up. This is Glossier You. This also has the note of Ambrette in it. This has pink pepper. It has, I believe it has heliotrope as well. Is it heliotrope? No, it's iris. So it does have a powdery second skin musk sweet fragrance. So this one I love for casual days. The only reason it's not a favorite, like an all-time favorite, is because I do pick up the pink pepper some days a little more than I would like, but the fragrance itself is really beautiful. It's like delicate, powdery, feminine, a little sweet, and like a second skin, perfect for everyday type of scent. This is like jeans and a t-shirt, I'm running errands type of fragrance. Next up, we have a niche fragrance, and this is by Liquidy's Imaginaires. I'm probably saying that so wrong, but this is Blanche Bet. And this fragrance, I cannot wait to start wearing now in the warmer weather because it has been quite a bit of a roller coaster with this fragrance. I still can't make up my mind if it's a love or if it's one that I don't want in my collection. It's so weird. The reason why is because I love everything about it, but there's one note that kind of comes through too much, at least during winter time. So this fragrance has milk, so it's already like a tonic fragrance, creamy fragrance. Then there is the Ambrette. There is also amazing notes like vanilla and musk and tonka bean and cacao. There's jasmine, but I don't really smell the jasmine too much. And today it's smelling amazing. So I think this fragrance for me has to be worn in warmer weather. I can't do this in the cold. It starts smelling kind of like the tuberose that's in here, which is the one note I didn't mention. The tuberose in here, when it's cold for some reason, the tuberose is just annoying to my nose in this fragrance in wintertime. Right now it is warm again and I'm smelling it and I'm not picking up on that tuberose, but I'm spraying it on a paper, so I should spray it on my skin because I do remember liking it on paper. So oh, right now that I just sprayed it, it's almost similar to Scarlet Poppy, like the feeling of it, the vibe, very similar. And it's smelling so good today. I think I'm gonna put this in my next tray to really test it out. But yeah, the tuberose in here, when it did come up during colder weather, it gave it this vibe of like way too mature for me, way too, and I never mean this in an offensive way, but those typical grandma fragrances that people will describe is what I was starting to pick up from this. And I'm like, why is that happening if it didn't happen sometimes? But I got this last year towards the end of summer, I think. So that's the reason why I loved it at first. And then it kind of was like, ooh, you know, like what is this? But smelling amazing. So I want to wear it some more. But this one is in that, again, like musky second skin, you smell amazing naturally type of scent. It's not necessarily too floral or too sweet or fruity, nothing like that. These are like fluffy, sensual. This one's vanilla. This one is more vanilla now, which is why I'm liking it a lot. So it's just fluffy, smooth, little powdery, musky types of scents. So these do share that DNA. Now this next one, it's a little bit more woody, musky, and I don't have the original one, but the original one that I have smelled in the past, I've had samples of it, is by Byredo, and that is Mojave Ghost. But I do have the Juliana's perfume version of that fragrance. This video is not sponsored. I have these fragrances because I have worked with Juliana's perfume in the past, but this is such a perfect inspired version of Mojave Ghost. It smells almost identical to me. And in here, I am getting that same airy, musky feeling, but with a woody touch. So this one's definitely a woody, musky fragrance. It has that same airy feel. This one can be unisex. And it's definitely like a casual fragrance for me, like a daytime type of fragrance. And it can be, in my opinion, worn year round. It also has a bit of a powdery touch to it, and the florals are soft in here. They're not too loud, but there is a floral scent in there, very like softly. And then the wood is the main thing that you're getting in this fragrance. Next up, we have some super feminine fragrances. So we're heading more into like florals. So this next one is Valentino Donna Born in Roma Coral Fantasy. This one is more of a fruity, musky scent. Definitely a fruity one. To me, very tropical, perfect for summertime, very juicy, but musky. The dry down gets very musky with this one. But this just smells like almost like a fruit roll up for some reason I thought of right now, but this has kiwi, so the kiwi is super noticeable in this fragrance. The longer that it sits in my collection, I can definitely pick up a lot of that kiwi, which is the reason why I like to keep it. This fragrance to me is not a favorite. I could easily declutter this fragrance from my collection. It's not one that I would say I really miss it. That kiwi to me is a little more unique. I don't really smell kiwi in so many fragrances. So I kind of do like to keep it for when I want something different, when I'm looking for something very fruity, summer appropriate, but still very flirty and girly and fun. Musky, it's very musky. And I pick up so much on the kiwi. There is jasmine and rose in this fragrance, but I think it's done very lightly because I don't pick up a lot of it. So good. It's good. It's not a favorite, but it's really good. So this one, if you want something that's like very flirty, you're feeling like really feminine and you want to feel flirty and girly, and but you still want to be, this is like a perfect like summer date night type of fragrance. It's fun, it's playful, flirty, and girly, but the musk adds like a sexiness to it. Now let's move on with another niche fragrance. So we have a mix of like affordable, niche, designer. So this next one is fairly new to my collection, and this one is so beautiful and very complex. So this one is by Moresque, and this one is called Ballerina. First of all, the bottle is so beautiful. Reminds me of the Micallef gold. It's the same thing. It's like a gold foil type of feeling. And this fragrance is so feminine. Very, very powerful as well. And the notes in this fragrance are so beautiful. This is definitely more, I love floral type of fragrances, very feminine, girly. This is like in the girly side. It's not unisex at all, but there is Ambrette in here, which adds that sweetness. There's definitely a sweetness, but there's also cotton candy in here. There is white peach, which I definitely smell it with the tangerine and ginger in the opening. If this fragrance didn't have Ambrette, if it didn't have the orris root, the tonka bean, all of those notes and the vanilla really helps to smooth it out, because all of the other notes are very juicy and sharp and fruity, and the rest of those notes kind of smooths everything out. This is a creamy, feminine, floral, fruity fragrance. Definitely recommend trying a sample of this one. Next up, we have another fragrance that is one of my all-time favorites. The performance of this is amazing. It's designer, and this is Givenchy Irresistible. This is the EDP version. So this one is, to me, a more sweet, loving, romantic type of fragrance. It's not sexy. It's not that. It's more like beautiful, romantic. It does have like a almost aquatic side to it. And the reason for that aquatic touch is because this has a pear. So the pear is super watery, juicy, paired with the ambrette. So you get like that musky feeling. And then you have rose and iris in the mid with musk and Virginia cedar as the base. This is so good. It's one of my all-time favorite rose fragrances, and I am super duper picky with rose. I cannot stand rose in some fragrances, but then there's others that it's perfection. So this is like a pink rose. It's a more delicate rose. It's not vintage or like mature. It doesn't feel that way. It's definitely more juicy pink, but romantic. It's not too girly or juvenile at all, but it's just soft. It's classy. It's beautiful. I love this one. And even though I did mention classy, beautiful, romantic, it's still not towards that vintage or mature side. It's still modern because of that pear in there and the ambrette. It really just gives it like a more modern touch. It doesn't feel like a typical rose fragrance at all. This is definitely one that I think is worth trying out. Next up, I have a beachy fragrance. So now we're changing categories again. And this one, unfortunately, is no longer sold unless she brings it back. I'm not sure how likely that is. But this is KKW and this is Body II. This is a very beachy fragrance. It used to be one of my favorite beachy fragrances because it does have notes that I am not a fan of. For example, this one has neroli, which sometimes I have to be careful with neroli. It has manoi oil, ylang ylang. It has all of those typical notes for a beachy scent like Tom Ford Soleil Blanc. This also has coconut. It has coconut milk, but the base has that ambrette. Now, I really love this fragrance for a really long time. I don't know if it's because maybe it's been sitting too long or I didn't spray it for a while. So I have been trying to spray it more because now it's not giving me the same, like I'm not feeling as crazy about it as I used to. But it does smell good. It's the neroli is trying to come through a little too much now, and neroli I have to be careful with. But the coconut and the ambrette saves this fragrance. Again, it gives it a smooth touch so that none of those notes that could get sharp, they don't get sharp. They're really nice. So this one is like a beachy one. I'm not gonna talk too much about this one because it's not even available anymore, but it has been one of my favorite summer beachy fragrances while still having like a perfumey touch, like not literal sunscreen or coconut. Like it still has that kind of like a hotel lobby where you feel that like it smells so good, but with an ocean view. So you're getting like that beachy scent as well. That's kind of how I feel about this fragrance. And then the last one is a super duper clean. If you want to smell clean, I just took a shower, washed my hair. It's kind of like a everything shower and I just am squeaky clean. That is the type of smell that this fragrance is. And this is Ellis Brooklyn Myth. So as you can see, you can get so many different ranges of types of perfumes, but have ambrette in them. So this one is your soapy, which I'm not a fan of. This is like probably the only soapy fragrance I have in my collection that I could think of. And Julieta from Toca, but that one's already leaning more towards like soapy, but feminine and florally and fruity. But this one is like unisex, clean. I just took a shower. It does have a juicy touch to it, so it's not literally just soapy, which is the reason why I like it. It also has like a sexiness. It reminds me of like hair products, the way that your hair smells when you come back from the hair salon or when your husband comes back from getting a haircut. And it's like a sexy but clean smell, almost like cologne-y because it does have like that sexiness to it. It's so good. I love this one. It's so good. It's intoxicating, and I feel like this one is like perfect for him and her. It just, a man can definitely pull this off and smell sexy. Like I could picture it just so good. And a woman will smell clean and sexy and kind of like not bold, but just in a clean way. So that is Myth by Ellis Brooklyn. And that is the last fragrance in my collection with the note of ambrette. So that brings me to the end of today's video. I hope that you guys liked it. I found it super fun because these list videos where I do one note, you can have such a mix of different fragrances. So it's very fun to talk about them. Let me know which ones you have. And if there's any fragrance with ambrette that you want to add to this video, leave it in the comment section because I'm always looking for fragrances with the note of ambrette in them. So I can't wait to read your comments. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next one.